All right, welcome to fifth grade information night for Beck Middle School, virtual style. I'm Augie Ramos, the interim principal at Beck Middle School, and I have a panel of esteemed colleagues with me. I'll just go through based on my view, just introducing. So we have Ms. Dryden over here in my upper left. I'm not sure where you can see. Ms. Mel Carney, who's actually the incoming sixth grade guidance counselor for your fifth grade students. Mr. Southard, who is our child study team member and athletic director at Beck Middle School. Ms. Farneth, our English teacher extraordinaire. Two of my colleagues, Mr. Somerville and Ms. Douglas, who are assistant principals at Beck Middle School. Mrs. Wong Hughes, who's a science teacher at Beck Middle School. And that's your panel for this evening. As we go through, I'll just take us through a short slides presentation, something that I recorded over, we posted online, just to kind of give a brief overview. And then in the lower portion of your screen, you should have a Q&A button. If you click that, you'll be able to answer your questions. We'll be able to respond orally live in the presentation, as also type some responses in as well. So I'm just going to take us through a brief slides presentation with an important message, and we're going to go here. I'll just give that a second. So welcome, fifth grade information night on 2/2/22. I'm a former math teacher, so the numeric fun is just beginning. Oh, let's see if there we go. I have special thanks. I started the special thanks piece. I already referenced those individuals. So our administration and office staff, again, myself, Ms. Douglas, Ms. Somerville, and as I referenced, our two important secretaries, Ms. Miller and Ms. Miracola, they serve us and really just take care of the building along with our head custodian, Mr. Earl. Our guidance department full staff here. So we have three guidance counselors, one per grade level, child study team, full team, one per grade level as well. The incoming case manager for the child study team for sixth grade is actually in the process of recruiting. So once that person is announced, we will share that information. And two very important people at the bottom of this list, Ms. Conover, our student assistance coordinator, and Ms. Willis, our guidance secretary. So this important message comes from our student, one of our current sixth graders, Jolie Giles. I'm just going to pause my talking and allow her to speak.
Welcome to Beck. Welcome, future sixth graders and future sixth grade parents. I am Jolie Giles, and I know you've been thinking about this moment as you'll soon be graduating from your elementary school. Can you believe that you'll be entering sixth grade in the fall at Beck Middle School? Last year, I was at my fifth grade information night. It felt like my head was spinning. Don't worry though, Beck is a great school. The teachers are caring and ready to assist me with my assignments. They make the work interesting by playing Jeopardy, Kahoots, and trivia games, especially now that we've been in person again. Also, there's various activities to get involved in, such as instrumental and travel sports, student government association, music, art, drama, and so much more. If you play an instrument, it is great to join the orchestra or band. Mr. Marr is a fantastic teacher. Furthermore, we show our concern for our community by sponsoring food drives and collecting items for the homeless, and reading to our nursing home residents. All in all, I know that you'll have a worthwhile and memorable school year at Beck Middle School. Good luck!
So in all honesty, that is probably the most genuine message that we could have probably put forth for this evening's message. Jolie's a fantastic student at Beck Middle School. Our Student Government Association is advised by two of our teachers, Ms. Lee and Ms. Mooney, who do a sensational job with our students.
Welcome to Beck. Welcome.
There we go. All right, so athletics. We have a full gamut of sports at the middle school level. We're fortunate in many of our team sports to have both A and B team opportunities, which allows more students to just engage in sports as they go up through middle school and into the high school level, leading towards varsity competition. There's a whole plethora. I'm not going to go through each one, but fortunately, we do have our athletics director on our call this evening. So if there's any questions, we can get the information from him. I'm continuing to go. Extracurricular activities at Beck. We have a plethora of clubs. I just learned about our origami club. I'm actually an origami aficionado. I've been participating in that since I was 8 years old, and I was so excited when I spoke with Ms. Norcus about it. I'm looking forward to the next meeting because I'm going to participate as well. But this little link here, this will take you to our website. If you just scan it with your phone, you pull up your camera, you'll be able to see this. It'll bring you to our website, and clubs are always popping in and out, right? As students get involved in clubs, club becomes active. Students come up to me recently about starting new clubs. So as your children come into Beck Middle School and they have a great idea for a club, that opportunity for growth is always there. A few important notes from our nursing department, and I'm going to go through this briefly. So with nursing, records are very important. Immunizations are key, that we have those as we have incoming students coming in. So by August 15th, the Streptococcus and Tdap, can't see that portion, but Tdap vaccinations are required, and to allow for a smooth transition into middle school, those are required there. Same thing with physicals for athletics, sports physicals, same thing, August 15th, to make sure that fall sports are not in jeopardy and we're safe to move forward, making sure that our children are safe to participate and achieve greatness and sports at Beck Middle School. Going through, the website for our nurse is also available online through our quick links of our webpage. We can find this right on the front page. We got on the upper right-hand corner, quick links, and we can get to our nurse's website, where she's been just outstanding. Our nurse, Ms. Case Abner, is the head nurse for the district, and we are super privileged to have her working with us at Beck. And just a plug to all the nurses throughout the district. Through these COVID times, they have been worked and overworked, and they've been answering emails and phone calls in the evening hours, on the weekends, and it is appreciated because our jobs are definitely connected and passionate for students and student safety and success, and she's done a fabulous job. So also, as is the case with each and every one of us on this panel, if Ms. Abner, if there's any questions you want to ask directly to our nurse, her email is right there on the screen. It's also searchable on our school website. Library Media Center, so we have a library that at Beck Middle School. I actually very much like the green chairs, which is why I kind of centered that around there. Ms. Riley Stern is our librarian. She's outstanding. Our library is a resource where a lot of students engage during the day, even during lunch. They'll go there, just eat and get some work done. Just a safe space in the building. Our music program is stellar. So these two slides here are from our recent orchestra and band concert. So Mr. Marr handles our jazz band, Ms. Mandescu handles our orchestra, and Mr. Kane handles our choir program. So music is definitely alive at Beck Middle School. Academics.
Ramos, I'm sorry. There's a black strip in the, one of the parents were saying, if you can try to remove that, I apologize for interrupting you. They can't see the presentation. Mr. Plavinsky said you can dismiss the live transcript at the top. Sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. Better?
It's still covering team structure, but we can see the top, just not team structure now. Now it's gone. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. It's hard to see. I can't exactly tell. I see my screen and I'm not sure if that's what everybody else is seeing. So I certainly apologize and thank you for alerting us. So at Henry Beck Middle School, as is the case in all of our middle schools in the district, we have teams that are structured by grade level. So as students come in, our sixth grade students coming in next year will be grouped into 3 teams, teams 1, 2, and 3. And all the students in team 3 will have the same teachers for all of our core subjects. So language arts, humanities, science, mathematics, special education programming, even our advisory, which is a part of our social emotional learning program in our school. They're all structured in this way to have a more in-depth personal support for our children. So they're allowed to, our teachers are allowed to engage together to discuss observations in our children from different courses, what things work, what things can be changed to improve our student learning opportunities, and so on. Our off-team courses are courses where teachers may be teaching more than one group and even more than one grade level. Things like world languages, our exploratory, which encompasses art, music, STEM, communications, and tech. Physical education, health, music programming, and all our ELL programming. So for the duration of the school year, we wish you the absolute best with 5th grade. And at this point, we're just going to focus more on the Q&A portion of the evening. I'm going to stop this slideshow. All right. Am I still sharing? Okay. Hesitated. I thought I lost everybody. I was getting very nervous. All right. Drama theater program. Can you talk about that? Drama theater. I know we have a drama club. I want to defer to anyone who knows more about the drama club than me. I know Miss Officer is one of the people who does the drama club.
Hello, Wendy Wong Hughes here, Business Director of Beck Theater Drama. So it is open to all. I'm just reading the question. Does Beck have a drama theater program? Yes, we do. And we start up late fall, early December, late November. And we, all the kids audition for certain roles and all are welcome. We don't turn anyone away.
Hi, this is Marnie Malcarney. I'll be the incoming 6th grade counselor at Beck. I'm currently the 8th grade counselor. And I see there's a question about how many students are at Beck and how many students on average per classroom per teacher. So our school typically has anywhere between we're about 900 kids in our building. So in 6th grade, there will be approximately 100 students per team, 100 on team 1, team 2, and team 3. Once your child is placed on a team, they'll have 5 academic teachers that they will rotate through. And the average class size could be anywhere from about 18 to about 25.
So I see a question about touring, and I know I'm not sure what's been the past practice. I know from coming from the high school, we did used to have tours. Currently with COVID, we've been very cautious about welcoming visitors. And I see Ms. Malcarney about to say something, so I'm going to turn it on.
I'm going to unmute that. So for tours, obviously we're doing this presentation virtually. So in a typical year, we remember what that's like, we would all be together in the building and you would tour around. What we have done, what we did last summer is we did open the building for some opportunities for kids to come through and meet with the counseling staff and individuals in the building. So it's not something that we're doing in a large scale, but there will be opportunities for you most likely over the summer to come in. We'll have in August, we'll have another like a before school starts, it's another 5th grade information night, but at that point your children will be almost 6th graders. And that usually occurs in August. So hopefully that'll be something that's in person. I guess we'll have to kind of see where we're at that time, but look for the information on that. That occurs usually like the week before Labor Day.
So I noticed a question here regarding specific differences between Beck and Rosa. I have to be honest, I mean, size-wise, I know Beck is slightly larger of a school. Program-wise, there's a lot of similarities. There's a larger English learners program at Rosa Middle School. Those are my knowledge points at this point. Yeah. How do we emphasize STEM education to prepare? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in. I see a question about how teams are determined. So the teams are determined, like I said, there'll be 3 teams for the 6th graders, and we try to make sure that there is a really good mix from all of the elementary schools. We make sure that there's equal number of boys and girls and that each of the elementary school is represented on all of the 3 teams. So there isn't like a Bret Hart team or a Woodcrest team. We really mix the kids all together because we feel like it's really a nice opportunity for the children to meet kids from throughout the community. It's also really unique, not unique, but I think a wonderful trait that we have that we, the 6th grade teachers, who we have 2 of them on the panel, or 3 of them on the panel, they do a really good job to make a large school seem smaller. So your kids will be assigned a team, they'll be assigned a morning wrap, and that will really become their home away from home. that'll be the place where they kind of first get acclimated with Beck and with middle school. So the 6th grade teachers at Beck really do a fantastic job with that, and also making sure that the kids kind of mix and mingle and they do meet each other and really become like a family.
See a question in regards to sports that I can take. Can a student who never participated in sports still be a part of the sports group? Yes, there are many different athletic opportunities in terms of tryout teams, which are competitive. They compete against other schools, including Rosa, Carusi, Morristown, and local schools in the areas such as Medford, et cetera, like that. There's also the opportunity, many opportunities for intramural activities. These are non-cut sports. We have those for tennis. We have those for basketball. We have those for flag football. We have just a host of other ones that students do not need to have any experience to participate in those. Those are open to anyone who just has a desire, wants to come out and learn a new sport, socialize, and not necessarily have to commit to the strenuousness of a competitive program that does require 5 days a week of practice and games during the season.
We don't have currently have a chess team, but like Mr. Ramos stated, I'm one of the assistant principals. I'm sorry, I'm looking in the Q&A, so my face is probably covered. We don't have a current chess team, but like Mr. Ramos says, we do give the students the autonomy to create one. So we just need an idea, you know, of how the students want the club to run, what day, and then we just need an adult supervision, and then there's your club. So we're wide open for a chess team, if anyone's interested.
And kind of following up on that, I see there's a question about what are some of the other clubs and activities that we have at Beck besides music and sports. Something that I think is great is we have so many different clubs. And like Ms. Douglas said, if a child is interested in something that we don't currently have, they could propose to start one. For example, we had a student want to, a few years ago, start a bucket drumming club, and that's become really popular. It still happens. We've had everything from skateboarding to Harry Potter, video game club. For 6th graders, environmental club is really very popular. One of our 6th grade teachers runs that. There's an art club that meets weekly. That's something that is a great opportunity for our students to have. It's very, I mean, we've had like a movie watching club. It kind of changes every year what we have. But what I would suggest is if you look on the Beck website, you could kind of get an idea by looking at the calendar what's coming up. There's many activities. And I think Mr. Ramos had a QR code there that if you scanned, is that what that was, that they could see the list of all the clubs and activities. I don't know if some of the teachers are thinking of clubs I'm not mentioning that you know your 6th graders like to participate in. Other ones? You're muted, Ms. Varna.
I know the Animal Lovers Club is a
Yes.
big club for 6th graders,
Right.
and that's a lot of fun.
Bowling
Environmental
is also
club.
big. I mean, it's considered a sport, but that's really cool. The kids enjoy that. Go ahead, sorry.
I did see a question about homework, and I just wanted to address that it really depends on the teacher and the subject. So, but I know that the team I'm on, I think it's minimal homework this year, but really it depends on the teacher and the subject. I know the math teacher on our team this year really isn't giving that much homework. A lot of it is being done in class. So I don't think it's too much.
Just jumping around, I see a question. Do students with IEPs change classes or do they stay in the same class? At Beck, we offer several different options. Those are all prepared by the 5th grade IEP team coming in. We have various classes that include in-class resource, which is a general education class with a general education teacher and a special education teacher. So those students are changing classes. We have resource replacement classes. Students are still changing classes there. We also have a self-contained language and learning disabilities program in which some students might take all of their academic classes with that teacher in that room. However, they are still changing classes and they are part of their team, part of team 1, 2, or 3. They have the advisory program in the morning, in which they're in general education. They have health, physical education, lunch, art, music, STEM, all those, what you might call an elementary encore classes. Those are all in general education as well. So our special education students still have the opportunity to move throughout the day and to participate in their non-disabled peer groups.
See a question about when are clubs and when do school classes start? What time do classes start? So students need to be in the building at 8 o'clock. That's when we have the morning wrap, the announcements. Every day the kids will begin in that morning wrap, which I said is kind of what becomes their home away from home. That's where they will work on the procedures and they'll do some character education things during that time. Clubs and activities typically occur right after school. And we have a late bus that the students could utilize that leaves back around 4:25.
I see another one related to special education and IEP. When will the 6th grade case manager be in place for incoming IEP meetings? As Mr. Ramos specified, there is in the process of being interviewed for that. We definitely have a person in place who is the present 8th grade case manager. She will be facilitating 6th grade IEP meetings, the transitional meetings from 5th grade to 6th grade, as well as myself as a case manager and Ms. Schwartz, the other case manager. We will also help in that situation to assist the 5th grade case managers with any information they need, also to attend meetings, be part of that process to help answer questions and to help design a program that meets the students' needs.
I see a question oh, go ahead, sorry.
I had also seen one back before in regards to someone asked about, is there a soccer team? Yes, 2 soccer teams, a sort of a varsity team and a JV team. We call it A team and B team for both boys and girls.
See a question about choosing between band and choir for music. So both band and choir would be in addition to the music class that the kids will take. All 6th graders, all students in our building have a music exploratory that they'll have for a period of time throughout the year. That's neither band nor choir, it's a music class. So kids who are interested in band, Mr. Marr is our band director and he's amazing. He'll have lessons during the day. Sometimes there is after school practice. For 7th and 8th graders, there's a band morning wrap that they could participate in. In terms of choir, Brian Kane is our teacher in charge of the choir program at Beck, and they'll have rehearsals in the morning. Both groups will have performances for the community and they do different things throughout the school year, but they're in addition to our music class. And yes, we have a jazz band. I saw that there was a follow-up about jazz band. That's another group that Mr. Marr is in charge of, and it's awesome. I feel like our jazz band sounds better than some wedding cocktail hours that I've been to. They're really, really good.
I second that.
I saw a question about classes for 6th graders. So each 6th grader will take humanities, science, language arts, and math. They will have a PE, an exploratory that rotates every other day, and then a morning wrap where character education is built in, and a lunch. And I think that's it.
There's some questions about advanced math. The district for 6th grade, there's 1 math level for all the students. So there is not an advanced math, and that's the same in all 3 middle schools. There's also a question about if there's a test. There are no placement tests for incoming 6th graders. It says there's a question that kind of is in the same vein about tag. The district does not have any talented and gifted program at the middle school level.
I also saw a question about SAC, and I do think I'm not 100% sure, but maybe someone else could say. I think that ends in 5th grade. Maybe Mrs. Wong Hughes knows that. It ends in 5th grade, correct?
Correct. I answered that in the
Oh,
chat. There are many activities that the children may choose from, however, and the late bus, I think someone already said, leaves at 4:30.
There was a question, it comes up again, STEM education emphasis and community service. Can you elaborate? We do have a STEM exploratory that Miss McGrath, who was a math teacher and really took a special interest in STEM, that she started and does an awesome job at. So the students do have an opportunity, or they all will have a STEM class. Community service, we have different it's not something that is mandatory at our school, but it is definitely something that is encouraged. We always have a coat drive, we do Mothers Matter. There's other opportunities for service learning throughout the school year. I don't know if any of the 6th grade teachers could talk about service learning opportunities specific.
That we do through our teams and our advisory periods, and that might vary depending what team you're on, but every team that I am aware of has always at least had one throughout the year, and then rolled into the club. So like SGA might do a service learning project, sometimes Animal Lovers or environmental or something, they would do it. There's no mandatory hours though. So you would roll it into your advisory class and the whole team would participate, or if you were doing an extracurricular, you would participate as just one of the members of the club, but there isn't like a tied to a grade or tied to advancing in your next year's community service.
I did notice a question about if you aren't on a team with a friend, you get to see them during the day. Only in non-course time. So all our courses are broken down by team. So while the same 20 kids may not necessarily go from class to class to class, all the students they have class with are on the same team. So I know the only time that I could think of off the top of my head that they would definitely see each other during the day potentially is lunchtime. So we have a series of lunches through the day. There's actually 6 lunches, 2 per grade level. And our teams are 3 teams in each grade level. One is in one is in one, and then one splits. So there is a little bit of overlap, but no specific formalized time during the day where all of the grade level students come together. Is there a cost for extracurricular clubs and activities, Mr. Southard? There is a fee for activities fee?
Yes, that is correct. It is a student activity fee. It's not a sport activity fee. It is a one-time fee, $70. It covers your student for the entire year. So if your student tries out for soccer in the fall and is on a team and you paid that fee, and then they go to play basketball or wrestling in the winter, you've already satisfied that obligation. If they're then part of music or they're part of the yearbook club, so it covers sports as well as other student activities.
I see a question about if you need to select a middle school, if you live nearby Beck. So you will be asked by your 5th grade teacher what middle school you are selected. There is not open enrollment per se, but as you know, you could try for Rosa, but why would you? Come to Beck. But if you live near Beck, Beck is your school, and you don't really have to do anything except let your 5th grade teacher know that that's where you are going. It's not we would like you all to come here. There's a question about how frequent are parent-teacher conferences and how accessible are teachers to parents for feedback. I think that's something that our teachers do really well. We have a parent-teacher conference that occurs the first week in December. Where you could meet in the evening or in the afternoon with all of your child's academic teachers. In addition to that, we often have well, this year it's Google Meets with parents as requested. As the 6th grade guidance counselor, I'll meet with the 6th grade teams at least once a week. And during that time, if we'll have parents in virtually this year if you have any questions or concerns. Teachers are accessible via email. They do a great job communicating through Google Classroom as well.
Notice a question about if a student is playing an instrument in 5th grade, can they continue on with lessons and band orchestra? Yes, I have seen, Mr. Marr work individually with instrument tutoring during the school day. I mean, most of that programming is pull out of a different class and they try to balance out through the day. But we encourage our students to get involved, and the more involvement, the more proficient they will be in the arts and in the music field. Yes, there are homerooms in the middle school. There are homerooms. So we refer to that as the advisory period. So students will come into the building. They'll have an advisory time. That's considered our homeroom time. That same advisory period, that same advisory teacher will engage with students during that lunchtime. I referenced those 2 portions of lunch for grade 6. So one portion they would be again with their advisory. One portion they would be at lunch. The other group would have lunch first and then advisory. So we do encourage that relationship building in our advisory program, and that's our version of homeroom.
Someone asked how many hours of community service. I've been typing, so I've been quiet, answering questions. We don't require community service hours as 6th graders. It's pretty much teacher student driven. So depending on the nature of the lesson, it's pretty much driven that way. That's how the community projects are determined or assigned. I'll still type it.
Cool. So there's a layered question here. I'll just read the whole thing. Can someone please tell us about special education, classroom size and settings, please? Student-teacher ratio, academic support, bullying policy. So student-teacher ratio in the special education setting really depends upon the IEP and what's required and what portion of the program a student is in. So it could vary. So there's not one layer of special education supports. Some special education supports are housed within the general education classroom with an in-class support teacher. So it really depends on the individual student, what's defined in their IEP and what's needed. Extra academic support. So teachers do offer academic supports. I've seen students come in first thing in the morning prior to school beginning. Teachers offer time when they're available for tutoring, for support and academics. I see it after school. Currently we're able to provide a little bit more options because of the need for remote access. We actually do offer some remote sessions after school currently. It remains to be seen if that will continue into next year. Bullying policy, HIB laws. HIB is harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Those are state statutes that have been around for many years. So we follow those protocols. We do not tolerate that. We do coach and try to advise regarding bullying to promote positive social interactions with our students. And we try to address things in a restorative way, right? We have to build relationships and move forward with our children, with the students that we support every day. So we do deal with all those items often. Hope that answers the question regarding special education. If there are specific questions about programming, you can feel free to email me directly and we can get more into minute details. Or Mr. Southard, he probably knows way more than me about our specific nuance in special education at Beck. Is there a free period other than lunch? Not specifically. If you looked at it from a grading standpoint, you can consider our advisory periods to be non-graded. So that could be perceived as somewhat of a free time, but it's not unstructured. It's not without adult supervision.
A question about lockers. We are anticipating utilizing lockers next year.
So a question about, is there a 6th grade wing? There's not a specific wing for 6th grade. However, the teams do stay together. So the main classes, humanities, science, language, arts, and math, tend to stay close to each other and by the lockers. but the kids do get a chance to venture out to like the gymnasium and the exploratory classes.
There was an earlier question. I see another one here about what languages offered at Beck. So what world languages are offered? We offer Spanish and French. Spanish is probably the majority. So the majority of our opportunity is in Spanish just because it's much easier to find and acquire, certified Spanish teachers than other languages. But right now in all the middle schools, Spanish and French are available. So I see a question regarding library anytime. So the library is a space, it's an instructional space. It does get used different times by or different classes in school. Teachers do sign up for library usage. I did reference students participating in a lunch and learn program where they would take their lunch and they go to the library that is supervised by our librarian. But anytime, typically we just, like with the school, we want to make sure that supervision is adequate and we're not interrupting any programming. So we do want to make sure that if a student wants to go to the library, if it's possible, we will absolutely provide that opportunity. But anytime, it's hard to say yes to that.
I'll answer the question about when does advanced math start. So it typically, we detrack mathematics, as most of the parents are aware of it in the district. It's also on the our district website. But we don't have advanced math starting in 6th grade, but in 7th grade, they will be able to continue to take the same math level in 7th grade. We call it 7th grade math, and they can take Algebra 1. There will be a course offered in 7th grade. There are field trips in 6th grade. 6th grade goes to, gosh, what is it called? I just lost my train of thought. What's it called? Oh, God. What's the camping place? Somebody help me. I just lost my train of thought.
Mount Misery?
Yes.
Misery.
Yeah,
Thank you. I couldn't think of it. I'm not really sure if we're going to continue with that.
Things
we
have
won't
things.
know.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
things changed since the
Yes, it
pandemic,
changed with them. Correct.
and we haven't got a concrete word on
No.
what's happening in the future.
Right. So that's what thank you, Mrs. Dryden. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm trying to think what else I can answer while I'm unmuted. We don't have any inside word on mask and vaccine requirements for next year. We're just following what CDC is saying. So that will come definitely from our Board of Education, our central office. And I think that's it for me right now.
I see a question about what's the best thing to do to prepare our kids to come to Beck. So I think that your kids are probably prepared to come to Beck. I'm sure their 5th grade, their elementary school experience has prepared them to do that. In addition to that, I think our 6th grade teachers really kind of take the baton from the 5th grade teachers and help to continue that and help the kids, really become middle schoolers. But if you're looking for specific things, I think that they should read a lot. I think that is really helpful to get them ready for middle school. I think organization and time management, I think utilizing a planner before they come to middle school is something that's a skill that once they come to middle school, it'll make it much easier for them. I always give the hint that if they're not familiar with a combination lock, maybe get them one over the summer so they could practice that so they don't have that stress when they first come in September, because that's a new experience for them. Have them start to advocate for themselves and talk to their 5th grade teachers and just reach out when they need help. They should look at the school website and get an idea about the activities and the schedule and things like that. But I think, coming where your kids are coming from, they will be prepared and will continue to make that a priority to get them ready for middle school and high school and beyond.
Saw a question about field trips. So I've been on many 6th grade field trips since working at Beck, but unfortunately, I don't think this year we're allowed to. So, we'll see what next year brings. Hopefully we can go on field trips.
about dances and other activities outside, and it's the same thing. You know, historically we did offer things like that, but right now we're kind of in a pause mode.
There's a question about which Cherry Hill schools funnel into Beck. I'm going to try this here, so jump in if I miss one. I'm going to say Bret Hart, some of Johnson, Sharp, Stockton, Woodcrest. Which ones am I missing? Anybody? I didn't say. Horseman. So I guess it's traditionally it's the East Side schools come to Beck. I think I got them all.
Yeah. As we know too, there is a lot of talk in regards to what that might look like for next year, and decisions of yet to be made moving forward. So there could be some changes that occur with that. So we do encourage everyone to be part of those open discussions and board meetings, and listen to all the information coming across, because it is very important as we move forward.
So there's a question, are all students issued a Chromebook and or planner? So right now we're doing it as best we can upon request. Many students do bring in their own devices, but upon request, and as long as the agreement is filled out to take the loaner for the Chromebook, we do assign Chromebooks individually. That may change as we acquire and grow in our technology capacity. Planners we do provide, but it's not as a significant of a engagement. I know we develop those per semester and we go forward with that. There's a question about what interface is used to communicate work, et cetera, that parents can access. So we use the Genesis information systems for our student management. So there are student and parent accounts to log into that. So parents can see what work is being assigned, what work has been graded, attendance, things of that matter. It's all accessible right on Genesis. Oh, someone said Cooper.
Yeah. There's a question. Do students choose the off-team courses they take, or will the students take all of the courses? So the only thing that the kids need to select is their world language. They'll take everything else kind of as we give them. So they'll have all of the courses.
Food allergies have come up a couple times. So you would communicate with the nurse. The nurse would have your child's records, and then the nurse communicates with the team, definitely, and then any other important parties. So to be aware of it, and then if it is an airborne or how extreme it is, you would talk directly with the nurse and come up with a plan that would be communicated to the team.
There's a question that says, can you run through a typical student day? It's like we said, the kids will enter the building at 8 o'clock. They'll go to their locker, then will go to their morning wrap, which Mr. Ramos was referring to as advisory. They'll have that class period. Following that, their schedule will be their on-team classes. So they'll have I don't know, I guess there's a proposal, but they'll have their classes throughout the day. They'll have their lunch period, typically with one other team in the cafeteria at that time. The school day ends at 3 o'clock, which is when extracurricular activities will begin, and then the late bus is at 4:20.
So I see a question, is there any summer homework and summer reading? I believe there are recommended reading is the phrase we use. Is that correct? No, Ms. Farner? No, I'm wrong. Never mind. I'm going to turn over to Ms. Farner.
In middle school, I think in the high school, Mr. Ramos, they were recommending certain books, but in the middle school, you will get them from your 5th grade teachers. They will introduce it to you at the end of the year. We'll have it posted on the website. There's a summer reading assignment that goes with it. And all ELA students will get that information at the end of 5th grade.
Mr. Southard, may I ask upon you about this? Oh, you're typing. Never mind. Thank you. See a question, is there a car rider drop-off line? If so, what time? So typically our doors open to Beck Middle School at 7:45, which is 15 minutes prior to classes beginning. Beck Middle School has, when you're looking at the front of it from Cropwell Road, there's essentially like a U, like a horseshoe that comes across the whole front of the building. Right now, that is our parent drop-off line. I have to be honest, the traffic does get a little thick in the morning from about 7:55 to about 8:05. It gets a little tense, but we try to move through as quick as possible. In the inclement weather, we've been opening our doors at 7:30. Administration's been supervising students in the gymnasium. So we've tried to do our best to clear out, but that's what we have. We have currently that horseshoe in the front is our parent drop-off line, and typically our doors open at 7:45.
There's a question, is home economics or other life skills classes offered? So we don't have a home economics class, which I loved when I was in school. But however, life skills is integrated throughout the curriculum. So we do offer the life skills, the social skills piece in the curriculum, but unfortunately home economics, oh, I missed that class. So we don't offer that, unfortunately. And I'm still typing it, so I'll send it to the person that asked.
There's a question, how are food allergies handled? Is the school nut free? The school, I believe, is peanut free and nut free. Someone about to say something. Food allergies are handled, our nurse documents and manages all allergies that come into the building to make sure that cafeteria is aware, school staff are aware, to make sure that we keep a safe environment for all of our children.
When can kids come in for a physical tour? I know Mrs. Malcarney spoke to that. We have to follow the CDC guidelines. So right now we're limiting visitors in the building, but however, in the summertime, we do offer summer transitional programs. I know that Mrs. Malcarney is involved in, and then overall as a building, we do a huge community-based summer transition orientation. So we have Readers Water Ice, and last year we had the fire department there, the police department. We did like 3 segments of like round robin tours where they got to meet the principal, meet the staff, see where their classrooms are up front before school opened. So that was a really big one. We are planning to continue that late August. Is there weekend homework? I'm going to say no. I don't think any of the middle school teachers, to my understanding, do weekend homework. We want you to spend time with your family. Thank you.
So I see a question about children coming in with the 504 INR and on INRS supports. What does that transition look like? Obviously, there's a transition from just elementary to middle school. What those accommodations and supports are going to look like will be a little bit differently. I see Ms. Malcarney, I may want to touch upon just in terms of the transition from elementary to middle.
Yep, so the 5th grade, I will meet with all the 5th grade counselors to get that information, whether it's 504 information or INRS information. It will also transfer over on the IEP direct system, so we'll have an electronic copy as well. We typically, as a department, try to meet with all incoming 504s around October in the school year. The teachers, the 6th grade teachers will have a copy of the current plan, whether it's an INRS plan or a 504 plan, and they will follow that to the best of their ability for the first month of school. And then we will work together with the parent and with the team of teachers to kind of revamp it to make it appropriate for middle school. If you have a question or a concern about your incoming child, you can always reach out to me.
There's a question about what are the diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at the school. I would say that at Beck Middle School, as is true in the district, we want to create a safe space for every child, right? Regardless of cultural background, perception, history, language, experience, culture. We want Beck to be a safe place. The way we accomplish that is we engage with individuals, right? We support our student body, but we engage with individuals to celebrate who they are as an individual, make connections through those pieces of culture, celebrate, share, learn, ask questions. Our school is a place of learning. Our school is a place of warmth and character. Our school is a place where children are celebrated. So we are in an evolving community, in an evolving state, right? Cherry Hill's changed in the 8 years that I've been in education. It's continuing to change. I think that change is wonderful, and it's an opportunity to continue to grow and learn. So I think we do a solid job at Beck and in the district. See another question here about IDs. All students are issued IDs. They're not required to wear them at this time. That will probably be more of a district decision at per level, high school, middle, and elementary, but they're not required to wear them, but they do have them.
I see a question asking a little bit more about what the team concept is. So your 6th grade student will be placed either on team 1, team 2, or team 3. There'll be approximately 100 students on that team. The idea behind the team is that the teachers of those 100 students will work together, plan together, coordinate tests, homework, things like that. They meet together 3 days a week to talk about those 100 kids that they have. The teachers, each team has a math teacher, a language arts teacher, humanities teacher, science teacher, and world language teacher. So the 4 academic teachers are considered on team, and they will have those kids, those 100 kids. It's a nice way to make, like I said, a big school smaller. It helps with the teachers to develop relationships, and it helps the kids to develop relationships with each other, because the 100 kids who they mix and mingle with all will have the same teachers.
I just want to say as well, with regard to our answered questions, anything that was typed into the chat, that is going to be posted and available online. So in case you've asked a question and we're not responding to it, we may have already responded to a question previously that covered that. So if it is, it will be shared online, just making that point known. I think.
Circling back to one thing Mrs. Malcarney said in regards to the team concept, that is not unique to Beck. It's something that it's part of all 3 of our middle schools, Beck, Rosa, and Carusi. Each one calls it something different, but it is truly the same. Beck calls it a team. Rosa calls it a learning community. Carusi calls it a house, but is really a collection of those teachers, language arts, math, science, humanities, who all work with a smaller group of students. Really what it does is it takes a large group of children and facilitates that model of a school within a school, right? So you kind of keep that same mindset working with that group of children, and that small group of teachers can get to learn the needs of a smaller group of students and best address their needs. That's one thing that makes all 3 middle schools more similar. I did see a question in regards to what makes them different. And I think there is so much that makes them the same. And there is a definitive push by the district to have equity amongst all 3 middle schools and make them the same across the board as most as possible. They each have an identity, of course, but the curriculum, that's what's most important. The curriculum is the same, the middle school curriculum across all 3 middle schools. So really you cannot make a poor choice, whether you're going into the lottery for Beck and going into the lottery for Rosa, or choosing Beck, or whatever it is. You really cannot make a wrong choice.
We could talk about the question in regards to the Asian American history and contributions in social studies. I actually just came from a meeting a few hours ago where we discussed how this is going to be implemented into the curriculum. So this is absolutely going to be part of Beck's humanities curriculum next year. But I also know that many teams create projects in regards to various cultures, including Asian Americans during academic rep and advisory classes. So that's a good way that we use the advisory classes. So the answer is yes, for sure.
There's a question.
Students get homework from every class is in the chat, and I think that varies based upon the teacher. If one of the sixth grade teachers do you offer homework every night, or if you want to chime in on that? But I think it varies from teacher to teacher.
Yeah, it definitely varies from teacher to teacher, team. But in discussion with other teams, it doesn't seem like a lot of homework is given. That's just my overall take on, but I really can only speak on team 3, but I feel like overall it's not too much homework, very manageable with, sports after school. We realize students are very busy, so it's very manageable, nothing to worry about. You'll be able to manage it all, sports, homework, everything, and the middle school life.
And I'm team 1, so I can kind of piggyback on that. There are, most of it is start in the class homework and finish later. So some students need a little more time. They might be bringing homework home, and a lot of project-based things that they work on for a few weeks. So you might see some stuff coming home. But if it is Sunday night and your student is complaining about 3 hours of homework, I would double check that, because I don't think any of the teams or any of the teachers is giving out an insane amount of homework, knowing that they're just joining us in middle school, that we want them to have a positive experience, that we're teaching them, how to organize themselves and how to be responsible, but also not taking away from getting involved in the school.
There's an IEP question there from Saeed family in regard to resources for students with IEPs. Does the school provide pullout services or one-to-one support to the student? We count on the IEP coming up from the elementary school to define what is the services that we should provide. We do have the ability, we do have resource replacement classes, we have in-class resource classes, we have language learning disability classes, which is more of a self-contained program, but all that is IEP driven. That is also something you would have a conversation with your 5th grade elementary school case manager in terms of writing that IEP for the transition to middle school. So we offer a good many of those services here at Beck. If the IEP, if the needs for the student are such that the program may not be in our school, that IEP would place the student in another school. For instance, not all services are in every single middle school. So we have some unique programming. We have a language learning disabilities program. Rosa has a autistic support program and a behavior and emotional support program, and Carusi has a multiple disabilities program. So if your student would require any of those particular services, they would be placed via the IEP in one of those particular middle schools. The goal is to keep them within our Cherry Hill district in the least restrictive placement possible.
There's a question in the Q&A. I'm not going to name the family, but if parents on the call are worried about their students being unorganized and not able to find their classes, we do, outside of the summer transition programs and the transition programs that guidance offers, we also take a few days for the first maybe 2 weeks of school, and we literally tour them ourselves during the first period of the class of school. So guidance does personal tours with new students. They go to the guidance counselor's office. We show them how to read their schedules. We walk them through the building. So you don't have to worry about that. So we support them in that area to make sure that they get to their classes and they know exactly how to read their schedules So we definitely have you covered with that because we take time out in our schedule at the top of the school year and we do like personal tours once all the students are back in the building. I still do tours and they're still asking me, where's this class? Where's that class? So, you know, we all do. It's all hands on deck at Beck. Oh, that rhymes. All hands on deck at Beck. Perfect.
And Ms. Douglas, I think that's a great way to segue. So right now we're at that ending point in our conversation this evening. You know, this team is representative of the team, the full team at Beck Middle School. We're about children, we want to support children. Many of us are parents, you know, we understand, we get it. We want to do what's right. And as we come slowly further out of, you know, COVID's impact in schools, you know, we'll see things opening up. I saw some questions about activities. Yes, you know, activities will be returning, you know, the quote unquote normalcy, whatever normal is. I've always claimed I didn't want to be normal, but you know, we'll be returning to what school looks like slowly, safely, right? That's the priority, right? Safely returning to just more activities and more opportunities to engage with students. Mr. Somerville on the call actually began, and then the administrators jumped on board with, you know, creating more social opportunities in our cafeteria during lunchtime. We actually brought in a whole bunch of board games and Uno decks and just playing with our children, just games and just encouraging, you know, peer-to-peer gaming activity. Fair warning, I'm a destroyer in Connect 4. I'm just putting it out there for all your incoming sixth grade students. I'm just letting you know. But that socialization is important. It's what school is all about, and supporting children is what we do every day. And we're happy to do so. And thank you. It's 8:01. We're going to conclude this, and it'll be posted on our website, the recording, along with all of our Q&A questions and responses. And if there's anything that we can do moving forward, I'm Augie Ramos. I'm the interim principal at Beck. Please feel free to email me directly. Okay. Thank you and have a great evening.